Hi y'all, my name is Patty. If you're new to my channel, this is what I do. I'm like Vanna White, you know. That shows you how old I am. Anyways, I make journals, and I also make other things. I do art as well. I don't know where I put them. Try to find them. I'm also an artist. Oh, that's upside down, so just in case you was wondering. I'm also an artist, and I have a Etsy store that you can purchase things on. Yeah, you usually can buy these on my Etsy store. Not all of them, but you know, journals you can find on my Etsy store. I did have art pieces on there at one time, but somebody was stealing my art. Yeah, so I took it down. Decided if you want to buy it, you can buy it. Otherwise, I'm not going to put it on there. Something fell. There it is. Oh, sorry, y'all, if my head gets in the way. Okay. So this is what I do. I make journals. These are little travel journals. These are on my Etsy store. I think they're like $10 or $15. So you can check that out. It just has my coffee stained paper in it. They're real pretty little journals. They're cute. Cutesy, cutesy, cutesy. And inside here you get an art piece. With this one, it comes with, I wasn't going to show any of my art pieces, but I guess I'll show this one. With them, they get a little art piece, and it is signed by me. This is a ink piece that I did with ink of two little penguins back to back, trying to stay warm. And that's what that one is. And with it, it comes with a little note to you, you know, and then I also sign my pieces. I made this set back in 2020. I have a pink and I have a blue. They're on my Etsy store if you wish to buy those. Sorry if my chair sounds awful. It's going to have to sound awful. This one here, yeah, I think it was this one. It was next. I'm not sure. It might have been this one. It's either that. This one was next, actually. This one is mine. This was is not for sale whatsoever. This one, I think it's this one. No, it's that one that's not for sale. This one is not for sale. That one actually has original digital download from Etsy. Has the originals in it, so I can't sell that. But this one is not for sale either. This is one of the very first ones I created. The other first one that I created, the very first one, was called Always a Bridesmaid, Never a Bride. That one was my very first maroon one. That you'll see it on my channel here. But yeah, it was one of the first ones that got sold. And it was called, again, Always a Bridesmaid, Never a Bride. That one was created with a bridesmaid dress, but had appliques on it that were from a vintage, I mean legit vintage, an old lady, like some great-great-grandmother dress. And the daughter said that she couldn't keep it around anymore. She said she knew her daughter would. She didn't have a daughter. She had a son, and she said she knew her son would never. His girlfriend would never probably ever wear that. She would never wear it. Anyways, yada yada yada. But yeah, she was gonna throw it away, and I seen it, you know, on top of her trash can, and I seen the box and what it said on it, and I opened it up and looked at it, and it was so pretty, very vintage. I mean, y'all, classical vintage. And she came to the door and she seen me, and I looked at her. I knew she was looking. I was like so afraid to take it, you know, because you get kind of leery about taking people's trash. And granted, it was in a box, special box, on top of the trash can. But she opened the door and she goes, "Will you please take that? Please don't let it go to the dump." And I was like, "What is this? Is this yours? You know, I mean, do you know whose dress this is?" She goes, "Yes." She goes, "That was my great-great-grandmother's dress." And she goes, "With today's way of life, you know, no one in our family would wear that dress, and I don't see another purpose other than recycling it and put it into some other piece." And, you know, she goes, I just don't have the time for that. She goes, so I decided to just throw it away. And I told her, I was like, but you could donate it, you know? And she goes, who's going to buy a dress that looks that old? She goes, people don't wear those anymore. I was like, you don't know? Somebody from a movie might even buy this for a vintage movie, you know? She was, exactly, who's going to buy it? And I was kind of like, yeah, you're right. She goes, what do you do? You know, because I told her I was a crafter, and she goes, what do you plan on doing? If you take that, what do you plan on doing with it? And I told her I make journals, and she goes, that would be so cool. And I told her, I was like, well, if I use it, I'm going to make more than one journal with it. And she goes, really? And I was like, yeah. And it's probably going, if I can, at that time, I thought I was going to have this huge Etsy store, and I was going to be able to sell, like, pop them journals out, like, I had high hopes, you know, and I thought I'd be able to sell across the world, you know, different countries, and I thought that this dress is going to make it to different countries. So I told her that. I was like, yeah, it'll go to different countries, you know, and I'll make different kinds of journals out of it. And she goes, that would be so cool. She goes, and that would just put my grandmother all over the world, you know, because that was her dress. So she was like really, really wanting me to take the dress and put it to use for that reason. So I did. And I still have parts of the dress. Lots of it. But yeah, so that was my very first journal. And this is my very second journal. And this one was dedicated to my mom. This one is, I nicknamed it, I called it Annie. After my mom. I have a art piece in here that I nicknamed Annie as well. This is the cover of it. This is actually one of my mom's quilts. She bought all the pieces to make the quilt. Now the butterflies are my idea because my mom loved gardening and she loved, you know, pretty things like that. But she loved the color green. This is not green, this is blue, but she picked out these colors because she loved the way it looked. And she had the old lady across the street create this quilt for her. And when my dad died, my mom forgot that the lady had the quilt pieces, so she asked me to go back and get it, so I did. And the lady hadn't finished it. They actually had put the old lady in an old folks home, or a nursing home. That's what we call it, nursing home. Sorry, y'all. I know I'm going to just call mine whenever I go into a home. I'm just going to say it's an old folks home. So anyway, when I went over to pick it up from the lady, like I said, she was in the nursing home, but her son was him and his wife was living in the house that was his mother's. And I went by and I knocked on the door, and he's the one that told me that his mom was in the nursing home. What can I do for you? And I said, well, your mom was working on a quilt. And the lady knew what I was talking about. He's like, I really don't know what you're talking about. And the lady goes, I know what you're talking about, and I'll go get it. So she went and got it. It was not finished. She had sewed it in strips of this, what you see, but long strips that all we had to do is sew it down the sides and then put a border around it and it would be done. So, instead of, I'm not a quilter. Sorry, y'all. I'm not going to go and make this into another quilt. I'm not going to do that when I can just turn it into a journal cover. And I've got plenty more pieces of it too that's in strips that I can use as well for other things, like maybe a baby blanket or something, you know, stuff like that. But I wanted one of these to make a journal out of. I did not put any backing behind this, so it's hard, and I wish I would have, because you can see it through it. But it was mine, so I'm not worried. But that's the outside of the journal, and I just wanted to let you know about the cover of it and what it means to me and what it represents. This was on a shirt that I really liked. It had pretty butterflies on it. And yeah, oh, and I make these. They're little Victorian hats. I also sometimes I haven't done them in a while, but I make these like Victorian dresses out of fabric that you can just glue onto your page. I created this background with a little curtain and a window in the background, and I drew this below it to make it look like it was holding the dress, but it's got, you know, the lace on it and the ribbon and the lace around the neck and the arms. It just looks so cute. Let's see if I can bring it closer so you can see it. There you go. That's what it looks like. And this is like a vintage fabric. It's real soft, and it's made out of like a felt. Not a felt. What do they call that? Anyways, it's made out of a type of material that's fuzzy, and it's real pretty, and it is vintage. It's very old fabric. Bring you back a little bit so you can see this one. I've already showed this many, many times. This one was just thrown together real quick. It was just for me. Like I said, I never planned on selling this one. This is a piece of paper that ripped when I was coffee staining it. So I just put it in here as a crinkly paper. So that was really cute. Piece of tracing paper that I coffee stained. It doesn't take very well, those kind of papers. But this is a, you know, like coloring paper for adults, you know, coloring book. Coffee stain paper again, and wrapping paper that you wrap your, like, not wrap your gifts, but wrap your dishes in when you're moving, because there's perforation right here. But yeah, that's what that is. Just threw that on there. I drew in it, and this was something I seen on Pinterest. It's similar to it, but I added my own spin to it. I gave it the latticing background. I even made the faux stitching. If I'd had a sewing machine back then, I would have stitched it because that would have been really cute. And yeah, and I put believe on here, but it's this little heart with buttons on it. It's real cute. More of that paper that I haven't even done anything with. It's mostly for my mom, like I said. I did this because she loves redbirds, so I took a fussy cutting of a redbird and glued it to some material. Yeah, I wore that shirt when my mom was alive when I was a teenager. This is one of my first tries at making, what do you call these, envelopes. And I put some vintage stuff about my mom and my dad in there. And yeah, and I even put the fake stamp, made this stamp. This is a fake stamp, cancellation stamp kind of thing. I actually made that. That's one of my first things that I was creating when I was starting out with junk journaling. And I learned that from a channel called Al John. Her name is Amy, and she teaches you how to make things so that you can, you know, bypass having to buy them if you don't have the money. And this I created, this is supposed to be like for music notes, and you can use it for cancellation stamping and stuff. And that's what I did. When she created it for music notes. I did it for a cancellation stamp. And then I just wrote, you know, Waco, Texas. You know, I just put that on there, 1942. I stamped all over it and just inked it up real cute. It's just a page from my book. Yeah, and this pocket is my first time creating anything. I don't know, somebody's probably stole the idea by now and used it. You know, I'm not going to say stole, but somebody's probably used it and claimed it as their own. So I call it stealing, but okay. Anyways, not giving you credit is stealing, but my thoughts. Anyways, it has a back pocket. It's been glued here and here to the page. And the way I folded it makes it different than most tuck corner spots. And as you can see how it looks there? It's the way I folded it. It's kind of origami pocketing, you know. So, like I said, this is specially made. I did not get the idea from an origami book or anything like that. I'm just saying it looks origami the way I did it. But yeah, it's like a 2-pocket thing. And then a belly band. This is some ephemera that was my mom's. I just added some of those, what do they call them? Punch, you know, hole punchers. There we go. Hole punchers that's shaped like little hearts. And then this is a big heart that I cut with a pair of scissors. And then I put these hearts over here. It says hope, peace, and love. Because I love hearts, so I put a little bit of me in here too. And of course, the Lord's Prayer, because my mom was a Christian, just like me. And this is a pocket. I'm trying to find a card to go in here. This is a pocket. I was trying to find yellow roses because my mom loved yellow roses. Need to glue that down. It's trying to come up. This was a recycling thing. It was a gift bag. I tried using the plain one that didn't have the glitter on it, you know, just the dots, and it messed up. So I had to end up using this piece of the bag instead. Yeah, you can see the shiny on this side. Yeah, this is from a vintage envelope. Blah. vintage envelope right here. This piece here is the other side of the envelope, and I just put it back there so it gives you a place to write. And then you see the vintage back of the envelope here. And then I put this pretty type of edging and some elements on there too. This is a drawing, a painting that I did. First time ever painting with watercolor. And I did it for my mom because I knew she loved red birds. And I knew it was going to go in this book for her. It's glued down. It'll never be taken out here unless you cut the page out when I die. Otherwise, it's been permanently placed in here because it's for my mom. It was dedicated to her. I even named this piece Annie. And like I said, this book is named Annie as well. Yeah, I make a lot of things for this. I made a lot of things for this stuff. This is my mom's favorite thing, is green. She loved green, everything green. And she loved yellow roses, and she loved red birds. So I told a little story about my mom, what she likes and everything. And then I put this little thing I made, one of my first items that I created. And that's my mom right there. I made a little tuck spot here on top of this little pocket that I made. And then this is the hat that I was talking about that I made when I made those dresses back there. And I just put a fake looking pin in the back to make it look like there was a pin, and just added that. It turned out really cute. I tried drawing a face on there, and I didn't like the face because it didn't look right. So I just made it look like a mannequin holding the hat. Hey, it works. That's all I care about. And this is a pocket. And I just took a book page, turned it into a tab. I hand made a, what do you call those? Well-tailed tabs, you can make them by hand. I show you on my channel how to use your hole punchers too to make those as well. Anyways, this is a pocket. As you can see, it's made with trace paper. And all I did was draw out a hydrangea. My mom and my grandmother loved hydrangeas. And this is the color my grandmother loved. So I put that in here, which is my mom's mother. And this is all ink painted in, like colored in. And this is ink around it too to halo it. And again, red birds, because my mom loved red birds. She also loved chickens and roosters, and she always had that around her house. And like I said, we're Irish, so I put not lucky but blessed. This I put on my daughter's her calendar, and this is one of the tags that I did for this. And I created this little, this is not the way it is. I actually cut this piece of paper to look like one of those file things, and that way it would have a tag on it, tab I mean. And this is some vintage, what do you call that, flour sack. There's vintage flour sack back there, so I put that on the back, put some vintage lace on the front, and a yellow rose, because my mom loved yellow roses. And then fresh eggs, 5 cents, I did that. And I did it on top of vintage music paper. And I drew these little chickens and rooster out, and then I painted them in, and then I signed it, and then I inked this to make it look really cool. That's what it looks like. And then I put this stencil here and what they call faux stitching, which is just like fake stitching. And there's some chickens and rooster. No, it's a rooster right there. That's the hen. It's a tuck spot. This is something I learned watching Pam over at the Paper Outpost. She created something similar to this, and since then, I went with it and made little pockets instead. Yeah, I get this stuff. Come forward. Made that pocket. And then it's got these in there, which are my, I have them on my Etsy account, I do believe, as a digital. I think I have these. Some I got from Pam at the Paper Outpost. I'm not sure if these are hers or mine, but I do have some of these calling cards on my Etsy account as a digital as well, the ones that I have. And these are cigarette cards, but I think this is original. I do have these on my Etsy store. that are copies of the front and the back, and you can glue them together and make your own cards to look like an original. This is an original one too. This is another calling card right here that I created. You can tell by that being my coffee stained paper on the back. And this just wraps around this. All it is piece strips of paper that I glued down on the bottom only and then up the side. And I did that all the way up until the last one here, and I made it like that. Pam, she glues them all the way down. Just, she takes the paper, gets it sticky, and then glues it down, and then she turns them into little booklets like this. She don't make them into pockets. I did that when I was I come up with that when I was making the Red Dead Redemption Arthur Morgan's journal, because I needed to make pockets that I didn't have to glue down, but I could have them as, you know, on the page to be clipped on, and that's why I could come up with this one. But I got the inspiration from Pam at the Paper Outpost. And then this is my very first attempt at making a what do they call those? That type of paper. What do they call that? No, not vellum. What's it called? Anyways, it's a type of paper that looks like this, but it's white. This is trace paper, and all I did was ink it up really well and then glued it together as a envelope, as you can see. And then I just tuck this little piece in there. And yeah. And then it's got... This is how Pam, this is where I got the idea for this, is here. She just takes strips and glues them down like that. And I was like, well, I need pockets. So I was like, oh, wait a minute. Instead of gluing it all the way down, I can just glue the sides and the very bottom of the each strip and make a pocket out of it. And that's how I got that. And I made it into a bigger piece so that I could wrap it around the pocket. I mean, around the page. There, I said it. And then we'll just put this back on here. This is one of my grandmother's buttons. And I have another one in here. I thought it was one of my grandma's buttons, but I guess it's not. Just thought it was, but I know this one is. And then this is one of the first things I created. It says History of the World, and it's just a map. And then on this side, it's got a little thing that has a piece of the map that you can write on the back. Just praying for you. Because I'm always praying. But there's this little tag that I made. One of the first tags I ever made. Drawing this. I drew that. Drew this. It's another pocket. And I painted over it with pearlescent paints. This pulls out to write on. My mom loves yellow roses, so I put yellow roses over the pink rose that I put on the background. Because I knew she liked yellow roses, not pink ones. This is my mama. I can get it straight. And yes, she smoked cigarettes. It's partially why she died. It's because she had emphysema. The girl on the left is my sister, and the girl on the right is me. That's when I first came to Texas. I was about 11, going on 12, I guess. Yep, that's us. It goes here. First time I ever seen snow, too. Was in Texas, believe it or not. It was a flurry, not a snow. This is on my mom's lace here. This came off a pair of my daughter's shoes. My daughter was being the last grandchild, number one. And my mom named my daughter. And because my son couldn't pronounce Joyce without going Joycey like that, so we named Joyce E instead of Joyce. This just talks about my day or something that I did. This is my garden plants because my mom loved gardening. So I do that. And this just has that. That's what this is. I really don't write a lot in this one because I have another journal for that. Little paper flip from magazines, you know. Little tags. This I learned from watching Pam at the Paper Outpost. Like I said, she was a big inspiration. She's a mentor to me. Pam is. And that's the reason why most of everything in here is Pam related. Like these drawing pieces, those are from Pam. I have a little caterpillar right there and a ladybug there. But I learned this pocket set from her, and these little tags. She does a lot of things like this on her channel. So, and my idea was to take pages out of the dictionary that deals with God and make pockets out of it and highlight it. Yeah, and let's see. These are just keys that I did. I laid a key down, outlined the key, and then looked at the key and just did what it looked like on the front of the key. And that's what I did there. And this is just some paper. I folded a special way that I always folded when I was in high school. It's not like everybody else's way of folding. It was just a little way I folded things. That's what that is. And it just says, life. The key to life. Get it? Key to life. That's why it's like that. This is just a little message about things that I don't want anybody else to read. That will probably delete eventually because it's on coffee stained paper. That's why I said never use coffee stained paper without putting a little, or coffee on paper without putting a little bit of baking soda in your water, because the acid in the coffee will delete the inks that the person uses on the pages. This is when my mom and my stepdad got married. We had never had a dad. Come on, thing, focus. We never got a dad. This is back in 1979, y'all. So anyways, we never had a dad growing up, and that's my mama. But we never had a dad growing up, and he was the only father I had. My sister and brother had a dad, but I didn't. This is their marriage license when they got married. And this is just a card that I created. If I'm not mistaken, no, this isn't the one. It has a scripture. There it is. This is the baby that I lost. I just put that in here for me. Put that back there. And there's a picture of my mom again, and I put it on these little things here. They've already popped off once, so this time hopefully they'll stay, because I was using a bad glue before. This time I got to use Fabri-Tac, because I didn't have Fabri-Tac back then, because I was just starting off. That's my mom. That's one of the houses we lived in when we were kids. It's the same picture of her in... Gotta find it again. Where's the birdie picture that I painted? Hang on, I'll find it. There it is. It's the same picture that this one's from. Same day. I was taking pictures. I was a picture taker. I love taking pictures. And I would get them, you know, like printed out, and I'd always get like 2 sets done, one for me and one for my mom. And then my aunt moved down here to Texas, and I had to end up doing 3 prints. Yeah, and there's a little praying for you kind of thing. And just little pocket like Pam teaches, you know, just cute little things. And whose journal this is meant for, and then me just doodling. And this is another set of pockets that I learned from Pam at the Paper Outpost. I think they're called the Teetering Tower of Pockets. I think it's something like that. I put them on the background, and these are just little tags. It's tucked in there, and these are just pages from magazines. This is some tissue paper, and all I did was stencil and then use the coloration that goes on the stencils, and that's why that looks so pretty. And that's it. Go back to that picture. And then take this out because it's got personal stuff in it. This I got in the mail from some company, I forget where. And it's just a little prayer journal that I created. And then some little tuck stuff back there with pictures of my kids in it. And then some more stuff, vintage stuff that was my mom's Infermeria stuff. Pictures of, because she loved red birds. But anyways, that's what I do for a living, if you're wondering, is making junk journals. And this is where you'll find them, is on my Etsy store. Right now, I have this one on my Etsy store and a purple one, a dark purple one. That's all I have on there right now. I'm not planning on putting anything physical other than what's on there right now. And most of that's going to come off, probably. I don't know yet. Haven't thought that through. But yeah. Because I got hacked, I'm kind of like leery about selling anything anymore. It's kind of like being broken into your house, you know. People don't realize it does. It really affects you. And that's items that I have to go physically take and subject myself to being around and about, you know. And I'm terrified to leave my house as it is, you know. have complex PTSD. That's all I'm going to say, because it's about to end. So thank you for watching. Y'all have a great day. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notification, lets you know when I'm making and uploading videos and commenting and doing anything like that. Comment below if you have any questions, and share the video to others and let them know about it.